Why can't I get rid of my problem? Have you ever been stuck in a life where you feel like all the things you want are right in front of you, but you just can't get them, and it feels like it's a problem that's preventing you from having it? What you want is relationships that work. You want things like peace, fulfillment, and purpose. And it seems like it's right there. It's so close, like I can reach out and touch it, but I just can't get it. Let me tell you what I find is what's happening with people. So we have these problems, and they're like these, let's have these big squares representing the problems we have. These problems just seem so big and they get so heavy, and we just can't get rid of them. We wonder, why can't I get rid of this problem? Like, I feel like I'm a pretty together human. Like, I feel like I'm somewhat smart. I feel like I have some talent. I know what I want. People tell me what I should do. But for some reason, I can't get these problems to go away. And it seems that these problems are why we don't have these things. But let me tell you what's actually happening. I find that people live in what I would call an invisible prison. In this invisible prison, we can't fit the boxes through the bars, but we don't see the bars. So it's like we're picking up these boxes, these problems, and you just like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this, but we can't because it doesn't fit through the bars. We can't move them. These bars represent our thinking. We have thinking that has caused the invisible prison. When a person gets into a prison, they act in ways that cause problems. That makes sense, doesn't it? If you're in a prison, you act like a prisoner. So then here's what happens. We want to get this life over here. And instinctually we think, well, this is the issue. I have to get rid of these problems. And we look for visible keys. That's a key, trust me. We look for visible keys to get rid of our visible problems, but our actual problem is the invisible prison, which frankly requires invisible keys to get out of the invisible prison. This is what we do with people. Because oftentimes we get so stuck in life because we think what we have to do is get rid of that problem. It seems like that's the thing holding us back. Actually, what's holding us back from living this life are the prison bars. So then what we think is, okay, I got to change these things. And people will come along and visit you in your prison and say, I can help you with that problem. And you say, thank you. Help me with this problem. But you know what the problem is? Every bit as much as you can't fit this big box through the bars, they can't help you squeeze it through either. If they wanted to, they would grab it and take it with them, but they can't. So these people, well-meaning, will try to help you get this box through the bars, but they can't. And oftentimes, these people don't even see the bars. They just see the problem. And so our life becomes held hostage, not by our problems, but by how we think about our problems. Here's our philosophy on how we help people. We don't talk about people's problems. We help people get rid of the real problem, which is the prison that they've gotten themselves into. Life can get cleaned up fairly quickly when we stop focusing on the problems and instead we start thinking about our purpose. What was I made for? When a person leaves the invisible prison, it's amazing how they start to act differently and experience these kind of things in their life. Relationships begin to change. Oftentimes, when you live in the invisible prison, you think to yourself, why are people not responding to me the way I want them to respond? Well, What if they want to respond differently to you, but they can't get past the prison door? But this prison door, it's invisible, but it's there. When we think different, we act different, and we take down this barrier between us and people. So the key is simply this. It's not focusing on the problem. It's focusing on the invisible prison, because the invisible prison is what causes us to have these problems. So how about we get rid of the actual problem, which is the prison, and then here's what begins to happen. The problem begins to diminish, not because we're perfect, but because when you pursue your purpose, when you chase your purpose, you have power to face your problems. And your problem begins to slowly, sometimes very slowly, begins to diminish. Because you don't have so much need for this anymore. Because you're living out your purpose. So this is how we help people. If this sounds interesting to you, you can see more of our content at this website. Check out the Purpose Mastermind. The Purpose Mastermind, this is exactly what we do with people. We get them out of the invisible prison, and we get them pursuing their purpose, which enables them to leave the prison of their life and be all that they were made to be on planet Earth, which is living your best, bold life. It's much closer than you think. It's not nearly as hard as you think. You don't have to get rid of all of your problems. You can pursue your purpose, and that can happen very, very quickly. So if this sounds interesting to you, check us out at markdelaney.com and look at the Purpose Mastermind.